Hi, this is Mark, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the chapter on identity. What I've noticed in the research that I've done with people over the years, looking at the Museum of Us idea and trying to convert the things that I call my Museum of Me to our Museum of Us, it really, in the end, I think it boils down to identity. It boils down to who am I? And so I'd like to break that up just a little bit more for this chapter. I've made reference to the research that Erickson did on the stages of life. I encourage you to look into that. It's actually pretty fascinating, and I don't know about you, but it registers in my life going through these different stages, and I'll leave that to you in your research. But what I want to say here is that if it is about identity, if it is about who am I, I'd like to break that down into just three categories. One is, who was I? And a lot of the My Museum of Me, the trophies, the awards, the plaques, the memorabilia that I keep in My Museum of Me ends up being about me and about who I was. I was an athlete, I was a father, I was a son, I was a scholar. I did these things. That's who I was in the past. And that's terribly important because if you've had a good life, if you've done things that you're proud of, if you've done things you're not proud of, that is your past identity. It's who you were. The second one is who you are now. And now you are the person considering your stuff. You're the person considering your current identity. You are who you currently are in the now, which is not the past and it's not the future. It's who you are right this moment. And how does that feel? What do you want to do with that? And I'm hoping that as a result of the book, you're thinking about, well, what do I do now with the stuff from my past so that I think about what's going to happen to it in the future. And here's what I would propose. The My Museum of Me is all about my past and who I was, my identity in the past. Who I am now is this reflective, thoughtful, eager to do the right thing person, because I'd like to do good things and I'd like to leave a good legacy for my family with my stuff. And so here's what I would propose. That person in the future is going to be a person who is going to take their stuff from the past, the My Museum of Me, and I'm going to curate it now in the present. That's my identity. I'm a curator now. And I'm going to curate it in such a way that when I look to the future, that stuff is going to have stories. It's going to have the things that I did in the past in the future, and I'm going to do it with my family. I'm going to do it with my friends. We're going to build those digital stories together so I can tell you who I was in the past today, and so then that's my legacy record of what's in the future. So, kind of to summarize that idea, I find that so much, and so what's so difficult about this whole process of curating, of taking care of things, of dealing with my stuff, is dealing with identity. And identity, I argue in the chapter, is the hardest thing of all to store. You really can't store it like you can photos and books and pictures and things like that. The way to deal with identity is to break it into who I was and reflect on that, tell stories about that, because I'm sure there'll be great stories. Two, who am I now? I'm a curator. I'm a person who's doing the digital storytelling, curating my stories with my family, with my children, so that the who I am in the future, my identity, the legacy that I leave, is that I'm not going to leave my kids and my family a bunch of stuff that they're going to look at and say, oh, I wonder what that was. I wonder what that meant. I wonder the story behind that. Pause, 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 and then they throw it away. Instead, they're going to have your digital story telling about what that thing was, what it meant to you, and what values it represents to you in your life. So now they know. And that's not only the legacy you leave, but that's the identity that you'll leave as well. I couldn't think of anything more powerful than leaving a legacy of having shared the stories of your life, shared the stories behind the stuff in your life, and then creating a great model for them to follow after we're gone, period. But I say again, this book and this idea is not so much about death, it's so much about enjoying the life that we have, taking care and curating the stuff we have so that we can share and reflect and really tell the stories of all the wonderful things that have happened in the past, that are going on now in the present, so that that's the identity and that's the legacy we leave behind. Good luck.